What's up, everybody? Doubling down with Colin and Vinny, and we're going to Parx, so we figured we'd bring in a special guest. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Trust the Profits YouTube page. I am Colin Sheehan, joined by Vinny Blonde. And Vinny, we decided if we're going to Philly this week, we better bring in a special guest. So we've got Andrew, known on your Twitter at Philly Boy. Is there some numbers there with it, Andrew?
Yeah, 415. Yep.
Philly Boy 415. So if his name's Philly Boy, you know we're going to the right place. How are you today, Andrew?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm very excited to be here.
So what we like to do here on Doubling Down is put together a couple double tickets. We're some bets for the common man. And last week, Vinny, we didn't strike. We both struck out, as they say.
Yeah, first leg hit, second leg ran second. So
And I was 0 for on both of them. We singled an Express Man who went 4 wide and just had a lot of trouble at Belmont at Aqueduct, as Vinny loves to say. So there's our updated standings. We both lost $4 based on last week. Vinny, you're in the red now.
I know. Hopefully I hit this one and can get back in the green here. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to start swinging for the fences.
And so, Andrew, a big day for you, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like my Kentucky Derby over here. It's like the Breeders' Cup to me over here.
Absolutely. And what a great field we have this year with the Pennsylvania Derby. So we decided, usually we go a little off the charts when we're picking our races to decide on, but this week it was really hard to move away from the Pennsylvania Derby, and we figured we'd do the double with the race before it, the Cotillion Grade 1 Stakes for fillies, and we'll jump right to it. Mile on the 16th at Parx, race number 11 on your cards. Andrew, we'll start with you. You're the guest. Guest first. Where are we going?
So, the Cotillion race is, to me, very wide open. I'm not a huge believer in Secret Oath, but I do think that this is the type of race where Secret Oath will probably most likely be a favorite, and is deservingly so, because this is the type of field that she would need to face in order to get over that little bit of a hump. There's no Nest, there's no, those top fillies in this race, but the horse I like the most, and the horse I'm going to be putting on top, not a single, but my top choice in this race is actually the horse breaking from the rail, Green Up. I was texting Vinny earlier about Green Up and how I really like this horse. I was at the racetrack at Parx for this horse's last race, which was the prep for this race, the local prep, which automatically gave you a berth into this race. And Irad rode that horse that day. The horse went from low 80s to high 70 buyers and jumped all the way up to 100 buyer just going to the racetrack at Parx and running over that surface. And I think that this might just be a horse that really takes to the course better than the other shippers. And with the added experience, I'll take 6-1 any day of the week.
And Green Up's one of 3 entered by Pletcher here. And I mean, look at that trainer list. 3 with Pletcher, Baffert, Chad Brown, Steve Asmussen. You got the who's who of trainers here, right, Vinny?
Right. Yeah, this is a very fun race, I think, especially without Nest, because Nest would have been 1-5 here and just wouldn't have made the race any fun. So I'm excited for this one. Do you want to go next, Colin, or you want me to go?
Well, to be honest, we're taping this on Tuesday, so we can get this out there and get our picks out there. I'm still undecided in here, and I was hoping that you guys would lean me one way. I did have Green Up on my ticket. I'll be honest, I kind of have, we like to talk about, Vinny, on this show, how you do some ticket structures, and it's always important, right? But it's not as important when you're looking at pick 4s and pick 5s. But in my mind, it was either do I single Secret Oath here and spread a little bit longer in the PA Derby, or do I leave Secret Oath off on this ticket and take 3 or 4 other horses that I like and then single in the PA Derby where I have a horse that I'm pretty fond of. So I'm really kind of between those 2 strategies right now, and I haven't fully landed on what I'm going to do. On that second ticket where I don't single Secret Oath, Green Up was certainly on it. One thing I was noticed about, Andrew, we can stay on Green Up for now. I believe, Vinny, you liked Green Up, right?
Yep. I do also like Green Up a little bit here.
So the one concern I had, and I look at Brisnet speed figures, is this horse hasn't really dealt with a fast early pace. And I'm worried if the horse faces some pressure early, is she going to be able to hold up to someone like Secret Oath? So that's the kind of concern I had. If the pace gets a little hot, and don't forget you got Baffer with Adari Manor, who's certainly showed some early speed and has shown flexibility in both being able to hold on to an early speed pace and hold back on a pace that's not too hot. Do you have any concern that it's going to get too hot for this horse and she's going to fold, Andrew?
I
Oh, I didn't know which one you were talking,
Sorry,
but
yeah, I gotta.
I didn't know who wanted to take the jump on that one, but honestly, yeah, I could see it. He didn't, or she didn't have to like run. She didn't, have to get the lead last time out, but she didn't break as sharp as she used to, and she still somehow got there. And she is facing like other horses outside of that race, like Morning Match is also in this race, who is another Parx specialist. But if she can get a clean break, I mean, Irad knows how to ride the horse. I would say the two best races were with Irad and the Irons. So yeah, it really all depends on if the Baffert breaks a little bit quicker than her, she might be in trouble. But I honestly don't know if she definitely needs the lead. I think she can kind of rate that speed and sit, second or third, which this whole week has kind of been the spot you want to be at anyway. It was just about like 2 to 3 lengths off the leader, turn it for home and make her move.
Where'd you go, Vinny, on top?
On top, I went with Shahama as my top pick. I've loved this horse since they brought her over here. She was on my Kentucky Oaks ticket. She actually ran well that day. Not fantastic, but she ran good. I used her in the Mother Goose. She ran second, and then finally I cashed on her in the Monmouth Oaks last time out. I just think she's improving, and I think when she gets a clean trip, she's very good. Without Nest there's no Nest in here. I can't believe she's the higher price of the Pletchers. Honestly, I know the 100 buyer probably is why Green Up is a little shorter, but I think Shahama is very good. So that's where I landed as on my top pick. And like you said, alluded to, there is other speed in here, and she's one that's shown she doesn't necessarily need the lead and she can stalk. So I think she's gonna just get a very good trip here.
So you each went elsewhere other than Secret Oath and mentioned Nest not in the race, but isn't Nest the reason that Secret Oath has a great advantage in? So Secret Oath has lost to Nest twice, right? She lost to the boys in the Preakness. She beat Nest in the Oaks, and then lost to the boys in the Arkansas Derby. And other than that, is a 1 on the board. So I'm really struggling to not just go to Secret Oath, and Secret Oath beat Shahama, right, in the Kentucky Oaks, and that is like a lifetime ago for 3-year-old fillies, May, right? I mean, there's a lot of maturity that's happened. Shahama's a horse I had on my ticket as well if I don't go with Secret Oath. And I'll be honest, I went with the 1-2-5-7 if I'm not using Secret Oath. Green Up, Adari Manor, Gerrymander, and Shahama. But man, I feel like I'm making a stupid mistake not going with Secret Oath. So, Andrew, is Shahama on your radar?
Yeah, it's my third choice. I do have Secret Oath as my second choice. And I do kind of all the same things that Vinny has said about the horse is kind of how I look at it too. I think it's getting better each start. She's just getting a little bit more aware, a little bit more mature. She's getting a little bit more used to, American racing because this is only her fourth start in the States. And, she's just getting better each time. The numbers might not suggest that, but who knows? I do have questions about whether or not she might need Lasix or not, which is why she was my third choice and not my second choice. But she I like the switch to Pratt, even though I would love my friend Jorge Vargas to have kept them out from Monmouth. But I can't complain about the jockey switch because Pratt's one of my favorite riders in the country too. So everything's a lot of green flags.
Adari Manor, Vinny. I think you had Adari Manor on your ticket, right?
No, I have Goddess of Fire as my second,
I'm sorry.
as my other choice. Yeah,
How come the source doesn't win?
She doesn't. She doesn't win. No, she does not win. I will give you that. I will give you that she does not win. But her best races are arguably at this the mile and a 16th distance.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she almost won the Rachel Alexandra back in February. She was second in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. She just like her Kentucky Oaks was terrible, but you draw a line through her Kentucky Oaks, and all of her other races make her fit here, especially her last two. I mean, she was third to Secret Oath and Nest last time out in the Alabama at a distance that probably a little too far for her based on her pedigree. She's just kept good company all year. And this is just one of those spots I feel like where it is like a Secret Oath I think is definitely going to be tough. It's not like I don't like her here. I'm just kind of hoping that we know what she is and somebody else can step up and beat her. I don't think where you would see much of an improvement from Secret Oath, so that's where I'm going with some of these other ones that are kind of coming up. But I think she's been keeping good company, and if Secret Oath doesn't show up, she's the class of the field, honestly. I mean, her and Garymander are the two that have been running against better stakes horses than, the rest of this field. So, and consider running well against them. Uh, I don't like Adari Manor. And if she beats me, she beats me. I don't like the jockey change to Mike Smith. Uh, this horse lost to Interstate Daydream in the Black Eyed Susan, where she looked like she should have been a lock, and she loses to Interstate Daydream, who I believe who just beat Interstate the
Green up.
Green
the
Up
one.
Green Up just Green Up
Yep.
just beat Interstate Daydream and is like beat her easily too. If I get that it's the Baffert factor, and I get that she's been training very well. First race off the layoff against tough company. It's not like this is a joke of a field. I just don't like her at all, especially at the price.
Do you, Andrew?
Yeah, that's the kind of the same way I was looking at it. I think this horse takes a while between races to really be able to keep the form. I mean, going from April to May, she kind of did all right, but she was switching from barn to barn because of regulations, and then she is on the shelf since. And when you're a horse that's a 3-year-old that was running in these big races for these big, stakes or campaigns, and then they go on the shelf for almost 6 months, 5 to 6 months, it kind of, to me, it gives me a little weird, like worrisome, especially if this horse was training out west and then has to ship back over East Coast. And I know it's a proven Baffert move, but I would rather pass and take a shot with somebody else.
It scares the heck out of me to leave Baffert off both of these races because I'm definitely not betting Taba in the next one. I'm just not a fan of Taba. And so I kind of, a little bit of this is leaking into me going, well, it's okay if Taba beats you. If this one beats me, I think I'll be kind of upset. So I'm torn on what to do with her.
She's just lost. I mean, her last two races, I mean, she's really just like on paper laid over the field and just been unable to create separate, like her first two races this year, she was able to get the lead early and just kind of separate. And it's like as these 3-year-old fillies have matured, she hasn't even been able to get the lead. It's not even like she was like, she's getting pressed. Like she's not even able to get the lead as these horses matured. So like I kind of start to wonder if this was, she matured early and the rest just caught up to her. Because even her speed figures, I mean, she's never gotten back to the 294 buyers from January and February. I mean, I know she's only had 2 races, but she's just not ever anything over a mile. She just doesn't seem to have the same type of speed. She switches to Mike Smith, who he's gonna keep her. He's gonna bring her wide. I joke about that all the time. Mike Smith is gonna keep this horse 4 wide. He's gonna push the rest of the field out. So she's gonna probably run farther than a mile and a 16th. Unless she's much the best, I just don't see how she wins here.
And if you somehow blow that first turn at Parx, your day's pretty much done at that point.
And like what I can say, and like honestly, leaving Secret Oath is kind of like I feel like that's where this is gonna bite me. Is like I feel like you really could single Secret Oath here because Saya is gonna drop her back. This horse she's gonna drop. Yeah. She's gonna drop back after the start. The other speed's gonna go. Adari Manor's probably gonna push everybody else wide. Secret Oath is probably going to have a clean run, like in like the 2-3 path, like turning for home. And if she gets rolling late and nobody else is moving, she's by far the horse to beat here. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I can definitely see it. Think it's more likely Secret Oath wins here than seeing a Dari Manor win.
I'm changing my ticket as we speak because I mean, I honestly feel like you just convinced me that the right move for me is to single Secret Oath here. There's no barn
It's
burners in
probably
here,
smarter.
and I think that's what I'm going to do so I can spread in the next race. We did mention gerrymander. Why don't you just mention the good points that you had on gerrymander there?
She gets Rosario back after she had Pratt in the Alabama. I think that was too far of a distance for her. She's back at the mile and a 16th distance where she dominated the Mother Goose. Uh, fourth off the bench. It's kind of tough to tell what you're gonna get, and it's kind of tough. It's really tough to tell with these horses coming out of the Alabama. I mean, there was what Nest was never losing.
Yeah.
Right? She was never losing, and it's very tough to tell. Like, okay, well, is she that 98 buyer horse that won the Mother Goose against a field that like it had Shahama in it, but the rest of the field hasn't exactly come back fantastic, or is she the mid 80s buyer horse that she was prior to that? But you get Brown and Rosario, you're gonna get a price on her because she got blown out in that Alabama. Like, if you're looking for value and trying to beat Secret Oath, I think she's a very smart one to try to do it with. For a double, it was too deep for me to add her.
You like gerrymander, Andrew?
I liked it a little bit, but I just think that this horse is more. I think the distance is just too far. I think this horse is more like a one-turn sprint type of horse. That can definitely get like a mile, but more like a one-turn mile and not the deep track that is Parx. I don't think she's gonna handle the surface that well either. I just think she's the type of horse that gets tired quick, and if she gets tired quick, she gives up quick, and then there's a possibility that she could be running up the track instead of down the track.
So I'm literally changing my ticket again here because I don't want Shahama to beat me. I do like Shahama, so I'm going Secret Oath and Shahama here in the Cotillion. Anybody else you guys want to touch upon? Or I think we got most of everybody.
I mean, if Beach
The-
Days wins, I'll be very happy for Adam Bowman. But other than that, no.
I do think I actually do think there's a shot that the number 9 Society is just faster than everybody else early, and like this. It didn't happen in the coaching club. In the coaching club, she stumbled at the start and she never recovered. But she was kind of the wise guy horse that day in the coaching club. She was undefeated going into the coaching club, and everybody on paper she looked like she could have been lone speed, and she bobbled at the break and lost all chances. She finishes 4th out of 5 horses. Got burned by Nest, obviously, who just put that field to shame. But they wheel her back at 7 furlongs in the Charlestown Oaks, and she absolutely dominated that field. Now I don't think she beat anybody in that race, but she might just be quicker than everybody else, and she's the horse that I think is like could really mess up the race for a horse like a Dari Manor, even Gerrymander, who likes to be a little near the lead. Shahama might get shuffled back a little bit because of how quick Society is. So that's the one horse on the outside that I would kind of be worried about. I don't think she wants the distance, which is why she's not on my ticket. But I would not be surprised if she clears early and she's up by like a length and a half, and you have a horse like a Dari Manor trying to rate from 2 lengths back, and it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and with those type of horses, it's like at Parks, sometimes a horse that doesn't show that he can get the distance but gets a loose lead, it's hard to run them down. So if she gets some kind of a loose lead up front, which I don't know if she will, I think kind of her and Green Up will link up early. And I don't know which one will outlast the other, but if she gets loose on the lead early, she might be gone.
Yeah, that's the one horse I would be worried about going gate to wire.
It's great stuff, and this is just highlights why I love horse racing so much, because there's so many opinions that we've just talked about, right? And you walk away going, "Geez, I don't know," and I don't do well on these days. So these are why it's why I kind of just sit back and watch and enjoy these great horses. So if anybody that's been watching, you can see me hem and haw back and forth, and that's what I love about this sport. It's like you hem back and forth, you finally stand in an opinion, and then you get 2 exciting minutes to see what ends up happening. And so with that, we move on to an even more just as interesting race. Race 12 is the Pennsylvania Derby. Me and Andrew were talking before the show started. What a packed field you have, right, Andrew?
Oh yeah, it might be my second favorite field of the year for 3-year-olds. I don't know if everybody will agree with that, but it definitely is a top 3 to 5 3-year-old race this year.
Oh, I disagree because it's missing a little favorite of mine called
Yeah.
Epicenter. As Vinny knows, he's my boy. So what happens is you get Epicenter on the top echelon, you cross him off, and this is what you're left with, and that's not a bad thing. These are very you got many of these horses that went through the Triple Crown, and where'd you end up landing, Vinny?
I hate that I landed here. I've been dragging this. I've been dragging this horse through the dirt all year. I landed on Cyberknife.
That a baby.
I hate myself for it. I'm gonna try to cheer him home here. I just think he's proved me wrong pretty much every step of the way. Besides, I was right. I was right to go against him in the Lecomte, and I was right to go against him in the Derby. And since then, he's done nothing but prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on for the ride here. I think his Travers race was very, very good. I mean, it was, in reality, it was probably a winning race if Epicenter didn't run a monster effort. Like he really did run a winning race. Uh, he won the Haskell. I mean, I still think with a better trip, Tabo wins the Haskell, but he still won the Haskell. He just shows up every time, and you draw a line through the Derby where that was just like anybody near that pace just collapsed. But besides that, he can rate, he can sit on the lead, he can stalk. He's just very versatile. So I landed on him on top.
I think you're
Yeah.
in good place. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I have him in my top 3. But I actually am going to go to the other Brad Cox. Tawny Port is who I'm going to go with as my top pick. Tawny Port is a very interesting horse, and we were saying this back when, like, the Triple Crown, prep race days, in our group chat and whatnot with me and Vinny, where we would be like, well, Tawny Port's not good yet. Down the road, Tawny Port's going to be one of the horses that we're going to use. I said the same thing. I said back in March that White Abarrio is going to be running in the PA Derby. Like I there's just certain horses that they fit in this spot, and I think Tawny Port is the best of that category. It's like I just think that all he needs to do is take a tiny step forward, and he's been doing that each race really since mid-May. And if he can just take that one little tiny step forward here, I think today could be the day.
He also ran really good in the Jim Dandy, and you guys have nailed exactly what I was thinking. I think, and I have another point to make after this, but like I said, you got Epicenter at the top, and then I sort of mix in the Zandon, the Cyberknife. Tawny Port has moved his way up into that once they moved him to dirt. Right, you got to remember, I hated this horse when he was running on AstroTurf, and then going into Lexington, like, no, thank you, don't want him. Kentucky Derby, please go away. And then he suddenly has really shown to put 2 good races back to back. Now, he beat White Abarrio. If you asked me in, let's say, March, who I would like in the Pennsylvania Derby if I saw this field, White Abarrio was my boy. I mean, he was the one that I love, but he just hasn't made that progression. And like I said, a 3-year-old in May is a much different horse than a 3-year-old as we start to enter the fall season. And you have to take that into consideration. You can't just go by those names of what you saw if you're just not an everyday paying attention to these. And that's kind of Tawny Port's that one that you may have thought was a joke a long time ago that I think you need to take seriously. I also
I
like Cyberknife on top. Like Cyberknife, to me, as Vinny said, Mr. Consistent. He's grown on me a lot faster than it's taken to get Vinny on board. Um, I had him in that Haskell. I thought that was a great race. Beat Taba, took out Jack Christopher. Is really, really consistent. However, I finally feel like this might be Zandon's time, right? I mean, how long have we've heard everyone saying like Zandon, 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 right? And he's been very consistent. He hasn't gotten there. And can you blame him? He's ran into Epicenter the last 2 times, so I can't blame him for that. Are you guys in on the Zandon, or are you guys following on this? Say you're moving on from him. No, Andrew's
I'm
shaking his head no.
I would love to. If I lost to a horse here, I hope it's Zandon. He just doesn't win. He just doesn't like to win. The horses he beats. I mean, you got to go all the way back to the Bluegrass. He beat Smile Happy, who has basically been on the shelf since, and he beat Emmanuel, who's a turf horse. Like, it was a great race. I absolutely loved how he ran. I love the type of horse he is, where he likes to sit a couple lengths back and make his move. He's just not,
Vinny,
he just doesn't like to win.
he's going from Pratt to Rosario though.
He is. He is going from Pratt. He is going from Pratt to Rosario, and Rosario does have a win on him. But like the horse down the stretch, he just doesn't like the pass horses in the stretch. Even in the Kentucky Derby, you can go back to that Kentucky Derby. He turned for home in second. He turned for home right behind Epicenter, and he just got like he just couldn't get by.
But that's a mile and a quarter.
Right, but he just couldn't get by. And maybe it is that Epicenter is that much better, as he's proven. He doesn't like to pass horses in the stretch. Like, he really doesn't. And that's a huge problem when you have a race here where you have a horse like Cyberknife who just consistently keeps moving. You have a horse like Tawny Port who consistently keeps moving. Very tough. It's just very tough for me to land on Zandon here. But as a fan, I would like to see him win because I have been a fan of him all year.
So me and Vinny have been doing this a couple of weeks, and now you can see the chemistry coming out, because what I said about Goddess of Fire was the horse doesn't win, and then on the very next race he turns and puts it right on me. The horse doesn't win. What do you think, Andrew?
I've never been a huge fan of Zandon. I did have him in my top couple horses that I bet to win in the Derby. But I think that was kind of like his time to shine. If it wasn't the Derby, it was kind of just going to be runner-up finishes the rest of his career, unless he drops out of the Grade 1 rankings. And I think he could definitely hit the board here, but I just don't see it happening. He's in a tough spot. Horses like Icy Storm and B-Dog are going to be sending, because that's the only way they can win, is if they get lucky. So he might actually end up having to be in a tough spot early, and I'd rather go other places.
Where is that you're going to go?
So outside of Tawny Port and Cyberknife is Taba. And I am not the one to like Taba. I've always hated Taba. I hated Taba before in the Derby. I just never thought the horse was that good. But kind of like how Vinny is with Cyberknife, is that he kind of just keeps proving me wrong. And yet they aren't wins, but they are winning efforts. And like I said earlier before we got on the show, if Baffert wins this race, he becomes the record holder for most wins in a PA Derby with 4. And, he's sending his best of the best. And I think that this one could honestly get the right trip or be in the right spot. So I'm not going to leave it off my ticket.
Vinny, you including Taba? Don't make me throw up.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not. I think he's at his best. I think he is probably the best horse here. I still think.
I don't disagree with that.
He should have won the Haskell. My main reason for not using him is that they keep Mike Smith on him, and Mike Smith he just hasn't been good. He just hasn't been good in these spots this whole year. So he could beat me here, sure, but I mean the trip that again. I said it in going into the Haskell. I said, watch Mike Smith keep Taba, keep Taba wide for no reason in turning for home. And he did, and it got him beat because he left the rail open for Cyberknife. He's breaking from the 8 post today. Like
Yeah.
there is zero chance this horse is less than 4 wide around both turns. Like Mike Smith is just going to keep this horse out in the middle of no man's land and hope that he has a better horse. And he seems like he's more of a grinder than he is like a turn of foot closer. He's got like one cruising speed that's very fast. So, anybody else that's actually closing hard is gonna catch him, especially when he's gonna run about a mile and a quarter probably compared to the rest of them running a mile and an eighth. I can't believe they kept Mike Smith on this horse. And if he beats me, he beats me. But I thought for sure we'd see like Johnny V or somebody else like that on this horse this time out.
Yeah, I would have loved Johnny V on this one.
Right. I would have used
that'd be ideal.
I honestly would have used him if any other jockey was on him, probably with the exception of like Leparoux. I would not have used him if Leparoux was on him. But like you give me like anybody else, I would use him. I have a feeling Mike Smith is gonna do something really stupid and he's gonna cost this horse the race again.
Yeah, I could hear the boos now. I could see it all. Everybody,
Mm-hmm.
booing them off the. Parx crowd's not the easiest to please, just like any Philly crowd. So
It's right.
It was like in the Haskell. I mean, he had the rail in the Haskell, and then for no reason he pulls him off the rail to go wide in the stretch. And he doesn't. If he keeps him on the rail, the race is over, and he wins probably by 3 or 4 lengths because then Cyberknife needs to bounce out. But he moves him off the rail. Cy runs up the rail. By the time because he's a grinder, he's not really a closer. By the time he got back into his best stride, the race was over and he lost. So I can't use him here. If he wins, he wins. But I would hate if he won. I really would.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I'll let this horse beat me. I just there's a little bit of fandom coming into play there with Cyberknife, and I'm not a Zandon fan, but I just feel like you ever get those hunch feelings in your stomach that are like, oh, this is the type of race that Zandon beats me. But I have to add one thing here before I ask if any of these newcomers have a chance. Is Skippy Longstockings the worst name that they've shortened in past performances? If you look at the way that they put this name in, you have no clue that it's Skippy Longstockings because they shortened the name in the top finishers in the past performances. SPLN. STCN. How do you get Skippy Longstockings out of that? And I'm looking back and I keep going, who is this horse that, oh, it's Skippy Longstockings. Oh, it's Skippy. Why did they write this way for Skippy Longstockings? So that's my little rant of the week.
Brisna definitely has it differently because
do they?
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say DRF has him as I want to say DRF has him. They basically just took the vowels out, so it's like SKPPY long and then stockings with no vowels.
So it makes perfect sense. So after the show, I'm going to take a shot of the Brisnet for you, and I'm going to post it, and you will see what I'm talking about because it makes absolutely no sense that it's Skippy.
He's another horse I've been saying all year has zero shot to do anything, and his last two he blew up my trifecta in the Belmont, and he won the West Virginia Derby, which honestly wasn't surprising with who was in the West Virginia Derby, but I still didn't like him.
Actually, this is probably like him and actually both the Saffies are like the two horses I'm kind of worried about, simply because they're both kind of the same horses that Math Wizard was going into the PA Derby in 2019, and if one of them wins and I don't have them this time, I didn't have it back in 2019 either. They're both going to be good prices, and I'll be kind of upset with myself.
I'd be more surprised if White Barrio won than I would Skippy Longstocking.
Yeah, same.
I can see Skippy. I can see a pace being hot and Skippy Longstocking taking advantage. I still can't believe they're trying top company with White Barrio outside of Gulfstream. He's just every race he has run since he left Gulfstream has just gone from bad to worse, in my opinion.
I have two little tidbits for some other outside chances if we can get into that real quick.
Yes.
They're not going to be on my tickets for doubles, but like if it's a pick 4 or pick 5, or if I'm up on the day or whatever, I'm going to sprinkle on these two a little bit, and definitely include them. It's B-Dawk is one of them, for simply because Brian Dawkins is going to be at the races that day. I'm from Philly. Me and Vinny are both Eagles fans. And I had this horse like a couple races back at Churchill, I think it was, or Keeneland, whatever track it was. Yeah, Keeneland when he romped and his maiden breaking win. I had him that day, and ever since then I kind of just been a fan. But other than that, I don't think the horse has a big shot. But then the horse I do actually think has a shot to win
Number 10, number
is
10.
the 10 Naval
Yeah,
Aviator. Yep.
nice. And we didn't talk about that earlier.
It's a horse that I think is very sneaky in here.
Yep, I agree.
The ownership group is JKX Racing, and they are pretty dominant at Parx right now when it comes to shippers. They have a lot of horses: Juan Carlos Guerrero, Jamie Ness, all the top trainers over at Parx. And they do good with this move. Like first time running at Parx, the numbers always improve wherever they spot them. They're just really good at spotting horses. It's a little outclassed. It's definitely a lower level stakes horse in my opinion, but if this horse just takes that step forward that usually JKX horses do, you get Abner Adorno, who's the ownership, kind of barn rider. And I mean, Padilla Preciado has been doing really good as well. Same with Felix Flores Coba. Both their barns are really firing. They're both the trainers of the 2 and the 10, respectfully. I just think this horse has a good shot. Outside chance, carries less weight, gets a local jockey, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I had the exact same notes about the speed figures increasing, and that was something that jumped out at me. The numbers are light, right? So it really needs to take another step forward, and it is definitely a class hike. But when you're going through the field, we know these other ones, right? You know the Zandons, the Cyberknives, the We the Peoples. So what I start to do is look at these horses I'm not familiar with, and he was basically exactly what you said, Andrew. He's the one that I circled as if I'm going to throw out a long shot that I think maybe has a chance, it would definitely be the 10. Just because of that, I like to see that continual improvement of this. I use the Brisnet speed figures, and Dam Steyer stakes winner has some stakes winner pedigree under there, so that caught my attention as well.
My one negative is that they took this horse away from Cox, and then they took it away from Joe Sharp.
Yeah, you would think if it was
that was
great.
That's my one negative. But I like that he ran against. His last 3 have been against 3-year-old and up, and I don't know how the other 2 fields look, but he ran second to Keep Me in Mind, who came back and ran a mid-90s buyer the next time out. So
yeah, he's beating some lower level 3-year-old stakes horses, and competed in those type of fields. Obviously, these are the best of the bunch, but we'll see how it goes. I hope the local connections can get a big grade 1 win.
Good stuff, guys.
He's one that would. Yeah.
Go ahead.
He's one that wouldn't surprise me if he blows up the trifecta or something at 30 to 1.
Oh yeah, certainly somebody who's underneath. I can certainly see that. Andrew, good stuff. Thanks so much for joining, doubling down with Colin and Vinny this week. Hopefully we can get Vinny out of the red. Our tickets are there on the bottom. I ended up going 6-7 with the 157 for $6. Vinny went 137 with the 5-7 for $6. Andrew went 167 with the 5. I lost it. 5-7-8.
Yeah.
For $12. So I think we got a good shot in here of hitting something. Thanks so much, Andrew, for joining us. Catch us next time. Subscribe here on Trust the Profits YouTube so you never miss our next episode.